Hello, everybody. It's Marilyn Wilson here, the president of RE Technology. And for those that don't know what RE Technology is, we're a site that really is designed to help realtors figure out how to use technology more effectively in their businesses. Today, we've got a really exciting topic we're going to talk about that was brought to us directly by a very productive and practical broker, Paul Wells. We're going to talk about to him in just 1 minute. If we can click to the next slide, I will introduce everyone, and then we'll go from there. So we've got three smarty pants with us today. We have Gail Weisswasser. She's the Senior Vice President of Business Development and Communications for Homesnap and works very, very closely with all of the team at the Broker Public Portal. Bill Kaufman is the Director of Brokerage Partnerships for Broker Public Portal with Homesnap, and he's got a lot of really good practical advice about the ways that brokers are really being able to generate tons of leads and listing exposure through the portal. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Paul Wells. He's the RE/MAX Barrington broker owner from Chicago and has been a long-term advocate and proponent of Broker Public Portal with Homesnap. So he's going to be really helpful today. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's flip to the next slide and just a couple of pieces of housekeeping, and then we'll jump in. So first is if you've looked on your on the screen that you've logged in on the right-hand side, there's a little blue and gray box. You'll see about halfway down, there's a section called Questions, and there's a little gray triangle. If you click on that little gray triangle, it will open it up, and then you can ask us a question. Some of them we might have one of the panelists answer right away, and then some we may do toward the end. So if you don't hear it being answered, don't worry. We'll get to it. Just may take us a little while depending on how the conversation goes. So, and if you have any questions for me or any logistics about it, jump in with that as well. Okay, next slide. So first, for some of you may be familiar with the Broker Public Portal with Homesnap. Some of you may not be. And we're going to get in and explain a lot more to you about what this is and what it isn't. But I did want to let you know that one of the things that's most exciting about this program, as far as I'm concerned, is that the traffic for this site is getting much, much, much stronger. In fact, in September of this year, Homesnap hit its all-time high. So what's happening is as more and more MLSs engage and more brokers and agents engage and start to really use this as a core tool for building relationships with their clients, it's getting stronger and stronger. So there really is strength in numbers, which is really neat. This is a program that any broker and any agent can benefit from in a variety of different degrees. So super exciting to see that. There were some naysayers when this whole thing started, and I'm happy to say that the group has proved them wrong. So with that, let's flip to the next page. So Paul, welcome so much. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. How are you today?
Fantastic, Marilyn. Thank you. A little cold. Sitting in Chicago is always an experience, and we're going through the ups and downs. 6 inches of snow the other day, and we're going to have a nice low of 2 next Monday.
Oh boy. Well, let's not talk about that. Let's turn to the more positive thing. So why don't you start with just tell us a little bit about you and your brokerage. Tell us about RE/MAX Barrington.
Okay, well, I've been with RE/MAX since 1987. I run a brokerage in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. We're a higher end market. Just like most higher end markets, we're experiencing a little bit of an adjustment, to say the least. That being said, I have about a little over 30 agents. Our goal primarily is do what everybody else does, and that is provide the best service we can to both buyers and sellers. And we do that through obviously personal service, but tools like Homesnap are really making a different game, and Homesnap specifically has opened some doors up to us that we've never seen before.
That's wonderful. So tell us about this Broker Public Portal thing. You were I think one of the first brokers that ever really got excited about this. Tell us, how did you get involved and why did you get involved?
Basically what happened was I was on our board locally. I'm on a board, MRED, which is Midwest Real Estate Data, and we have about 45,000 members, and the president of the board couldn't make a meeting, and at the last minute he called me and see if I could make it, and I happened to make this meeting. It happened to be at O'Hare Airport, and I walked into a room of a bunch of techie people, which I'm really not a techie guy, but I walked into a room with a bunch of techie people, about 50 of them around a huge table, and they were talking about how they wanted to create something to compete with the other portals out there, that was more controlled by the real estate organizations and specifically MLSs, and there was nothing out there. Well, we had about an 8-hour meeting there that was very, very interesting. And as the meeting progressed, I kept getting more and more lost in what the technology was and just kind of listened to where they were going. And they were talking about how important it was that it be beneficial to the agents and beneficial to the brokers. And about 3/4 of the way through the meeting, I raised my hand up and I said, hey, you know, what you guys are doing isn't going to work. And that got a little bit of attention. And my suggestion was that the brokers and agents really don't count. It won't work unless the public really likes it. If the public likes it, everything else falls into place. If we focus on us, it's not going to work. So that kind of changed the dynamic of the room. And somehow I got volunteered to be the treasurer of the broker public portal, which wasn't really a volunteer. You kind of got selected by a committee of 50 people pointing at you. But ultimately, what we did was form the broker public portal in order to help agents compete with other portals out there that were not being controlled by the agent specifically. And the most difficult part was trying to get it done at a reasonable cost and have great technology. And after a lot of work, we got that done. And I think this has filled the coffers of what we need. And it's an ever-moving piece, but it's really been effective. And as you were saying earlier, it's been very, very popular amongst the public and specifically amongst agents and broker owners.
And so one thing that, for those that may not know exactly what Broker Public Portal is, I thought it wouldn't hurt to clarify. When Broker Public Portal started, there was another program being started called Upstream, and some brokers still, I think, can confuse the two. So I thought maybe let me just quickly explain the difference. And if anybody has any further questions, jump them in the box, and we're happy to help them. But Homesnap and Broker Public Portal is really a technology partnership that, as Paul said, was designed to help agents and brokers generate listing exposure and leads in ways that were really meaningful and build relationships directly through the app with their clients. So it was all about consumer-facing activity, right? It was all about, is there a better way, is there a different way, an effective way for us to work together across the country to generate leads and listing exposure for one another? So basically like a giant website combined with one of actually the #1 rated mobile app in the market. Upstream, on the other hand, is completely different. So for any of you that think these are the same things, please discount that in your brain. That is not true anymore, or never was true. Upstream is really more about distributing listings through the back end of your brokerage to whichever place that you would like your listings to go or any other type of information to go. So it's not public facing at all. This one is a lead generation tool. That one is more of a business efficiency tool. So if you're confused, just get that one out of your head. This one is all what we're going to be talking about today is Broker Public Portal. And Paul, one quick question too. I know in Chicago, and this is not true in some other markets too, before Homesnap and Broker Public Portal came along, the board of directors and many of the brokers in the market felt like the MLS should never offer a consumer-facing anything, that it was really the role of the brokerage to do that. And how was it that the brokers in your community and in Chicagoland were able to change their mind on that? What made them change their mind about why Broker Portal was a good thing?
I think it's a great question, Marilyn, but I think what really happened is agents as well as brokers felt like they had lost control of their own data. We had very little access to what we could and couldn't do with our data. We felt that we were being sold our own leads by many, many different portals out there, and it just did not seem like a playing field that made sense. And so what we tried to develop was something that would compete with anybody else that was out there, but also was able to provide much more accurate and timely information. That was the real goal of Homesnap specifically, was to get the sharpest and most accurate data to the public as quickly as possible. And there is no better data out there. It's amazing how quick this comes and auto-fills itself when you put a new listing in. And it's really made a big difference on why this app is working for the public. They trust it because it's real-time information.
So let's turn to your brokerage now. Like many other brokers, and you're the one that really shared this with us. That one of probably the biggest question you get every day is, what do you from your agents is what are you doing to help me with lead generation? And how does Homesnap help you answer that question? Because I know every broker is looking for that. Every salesperson in any industry is looking for leads, right? How does it help you answer the question for your agents and help them feel comfortable?
Well, it still requires something called work, which is an incredible word that does make a big difference in our business. However, this does make it a little easier. Any business is about the same thing. It's about referrals and leads, and sometimes we think our business is the only business that is truly based on referrals, but realistically, almost every business related to us and every business you go to today is going to be referral based. Anything from your hairdresser to your plumber and your carpenter, again, your carpet people, everybody bases most of their business on referrals, or it's coming from referrals. They may or may not know it. And leads, specifically in real estate, obviously come from many different areas. But if you're not up in the latest technology in terms of how to get yourself in front of the consumer, you're really getting lost amongst everything. And what Homesnap did was create not only a simple way for realtors to get in front of consumers and in front of their database, but it also created a simple way to respond to leads and to make things fly quickly. It's been very, very strong for that. And I think it's put us in a position to really reach out to the people we know and give them a tool that's fun to play with. And it truly is fun to play with. One of the features on this, on the app specifically, is a feature that allows you to take a picture of any home in America. You literally just pull up your iPhone or your Android, take a picture of that home, and it'll give you all the information of that home. Anything from how many times it's turned over, what the mortgage is on the home specifically, a copy of the plan, the survey, or a layout of the survey lines. Again, just a plethora of information just from the photo of the home. So it's pretty amazing the things that can be done with this product, but that's one of the simple things that the general public really enjoys with this product. And
Gotcha.
in terms of a broker, what the brokers do and what we do is we do training on Homesnap because it's the tool that's working to actually produce leads. And it's one of the few things we do that are producing very, very good leads right now, and it's inexpensive.
That's awesome. And when your agents ask you about referrals, what do you tell them about that? How does Homesnap help them with the referral business?
That's the amazing part, Marilyn, about this program. When you pull up the app, one of the features of the app is to be able to invite clients. And if you pull up the app right now, on the far right, there's something called Me. Under Me, you're able to invite clients. And what that does is when you press invite, it has an invite plus sign next to it. It basically pulls up your phone book on your phone and allows you to either select everybody, which I highly recommend not doing because you're going to be sending an invite to other realtors as well, and that's probably not a good idea. But select the people that are in the database that are past customers, current customers, and just your circle of influence, and send them this app. I can't tell you how many times I send this app out. I get a call a half an hour later from people that said they've spent the last half hour playing with it because they enjoy it so much. I've gotten calls from people driving in their car laughing because it's so simple to use. And it really is, at times it's almost a video game. People really enjoy seeing the information of homes they've never been able to see before in real time.
That's awesome. And have you had people once they have downloaded it and you've gotten past that first moment of joy, do they contact you because I know there's a chat feature in it too. Do people text you things and say, "Hey, Paul, I just saw this house at 123 Main Street. Can you tell me more about it?" Do they engage with you beyond that first moment?
To be honest, it's an easy way to do it through that, but most people still go right back to their message board or their message app in their phone and message me or call. I get more than anything else. I get phone calls because people are so damn excited they can't type that fast. But they really do enjoy using this, and they can't. They're shocked at the amount of information that their cell phone and one app can give them in a matter of seconds. And it again, part of the dilemma with any app is it's got to look good. For lack of a better term, it's got to be smooth. This is a very smooth app that people like looking at. It's just an unusual product that I've never seen anything like before. And when we when we started the BPP and when we were working together, and by the way, the BPP stands for the Broker Public Portal, and that was the organization we formed in order to create something like Homesnap. We had to decide whether or not we wanted to build technology or find technology that was existing. And this was the best thing out there by far. And Homesnap was looking for a partner like us to expand themselves. So it was a symbiotic relationship that's just worked so well. It's really amazing. But the public is really taking it.
So you're from a large national franchise. Obviously, Remax is one of the big companies in the market, and they, of course, offer you a bunch of things, and I'm sure you've probably purchased things on your own. How does Homesnap fit within the technologies you and your franchise offer to your agents? You know, where does it fit in your overall mix of value you're delivering from technology?
Well, and over the last decade, I'm sure every major franchise, even many companies have formed their own apps or attempted to make their own apps. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to compete on this level. If it's an individual company forming an app, you're trying to get a programmer or two to put together something that may or may not function in the way you want it to function. Even on a national brand app, it's very difficult to have the number of engineers that Homesnap has dedicated to just this product. It really comes down to engineering. That's really what makes this work. These guys do one thing. They build an app, a public-facing app that will benefit brokers and agents. My company certainly does a good job of trying to do that, but they can't do it like this company do. This is our go-to app right now. It's not even questionable. And on top of that, it links to the MLS, so it's just creating a deeper feel and a deeper way for agents or the general public to connect with it.
That's awesome. How do your buyers agents use Homesnap in their business? How do they take advantage of it?
That's one of the fun part. And I'm a buyer's agent as well. I list and sell real estate still. And it's one of the most fun things I do. Any house I'm going to, regardless, the second I walk in that house, I'm pulling that house up on Homesnap. Primarily because, again, it's going to give me such a depth of information. Anything from how long it's been listed, what price reductions they've gone to, when it was purchased, how much it was bought for, what have the taxes done in the last 10 years. And it'll literally list every tax year one at a time so you can see what the taxes have done and how they've fluctuated. It's got an incredibly strong school function where it'll list the schools that home covers. But if you want to do another search and just pick homes in that school district, it's one button and it pulls up every home that's for sale in that school district on a map, and then you can click on those internally there. Very simple, very easy to see what's going on. Another really cool feature is the ability to walk a lot. So it basically it gives you a vertical picture, a zoomed picture, for lack of a better way to put it, of the lot itself. But there's a feature on that is walk the lot. You click that feature and it looks exactly where you are, and it will show you where the lot lines are on that specific property. So it sounds like something that's mundane, but almost every buyer I work with wants to do it. Not only because they want to see the lot line, just because it's so cool. It sounds silly, but they love it. And I find that they're playing with it. So again, the features that are in this program are something that are way beyond anything that any franchise could ever build, in my opinion. But they're ever changing. This is a living, breathing program that they are building regularly based on your feedback as agents. They're taking that feedback, taking the public's feedback, and making it work for us.
That's awesome. And how would you say that if you, on the other side, if you're trying to win a listing presentation or work with a seller's agent, how does Homesnap help you when you're doing all of that kind of stuff?
Well, they've got a great deck that'll help you out. Basically, what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to pass this app to my sellers as soon as I list the home and show them exactly how it works. Now, it's funny because in our market specifically, every agent has the ability to use this app. It's just like anything else. Probably 30, well, in our area, actually 50% of our agents are using it, which means 50% of our agents aren't. When you've got something that's a tool like this that will impress your clients, be it buyer or seller, if you don't use it, you're making a mistake. It's free to you, or technically it comes in our MLS and in your MLS. It's $1 a month. So it's something you're already paying for anyway. It's very inexpensive, but it's going to impress your clients, and it's going to put you way above the competition just by introducing the product to them and showing them how it works.
Gotcha. I'm going to ask you one final question, then we're going to kind of get everybody to take a look at the fun stuff that's going on here. Have you or any of your agents been able to cut back or eliminate the ever more expensive advertising on sites like Zillow and all the others out there because they use Homesnap instead, or they bake it into their listing presentations to help people understand how powerful it is?
I say this, and I can't believe that I'm saying it, because I'm sure that people out there wouldn't believe it as I say it, but I literally have agents that I talk to all the time that are saying I've stopped everything but Homesnap because it's the only thing that's working.
That's awesome.
The power of what they're doing specifically through social media it's simply astounding. They have a relationship with Facebook that's second to none, and it's really been a good feed for us. But the tools that they built around Google specifically are absolutely fantastic, and something, again, that agents should be taking advantage, because it just puts you so far ahead of everybody else. And it's just a worthwhile product that you need to be using.
So I know in Chicago, to buy a zip code in the city costs $3,000 a month on Zillow. That was a few months ago. It might have gone up. So your agents can save a minimum of $3,000 a month if they want to use this thing, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe it's more, I don't know.
Again, you can spend more money on Facebook or on Google. They also are on Waze and Instagram. So what you want to do is monitor what's working for you in your market. But in our market specifically, we find that Facebook by far is producing the biggest results for us. And again, they're
Gotcha.
leads directed specifically to me that only I can collect. But the Google aspect and the Google tool that they offer, specifically again through Homesnap Pro Plus, is just surprisingly powerful, especially if someone Googles your name. The difference between a generic look, someone Google your name, as opposed with what Homesnap is doing is night and day. And it once again, it will impress people. People will literally go to you because of what they see from that upgrade.
That's awesome. I've heard from lots of different markets that the adoption of this app and this whole process is much, much higher than what we see on average. Have you seen that with your agents? And what would you say, brokers on the call, what's the best way to get your agents to take advantage of this thing?
Well, what we did, and again, it's something that's simple to do, but when we do an office meeting, one of the easiest ways is just call Homesnap or call your board, and they're glad to do any kind of webinar you want anytime. But what I like to do is literally plug my phone at presentations when we're doing office meetings and just show them how it works. Show them how to invite clients, show them how to do a quick search, show them how to take a quick photo of a house. It's so simple that I've literally seen jaws drop as people go, it can't be that easy. It is that easy. And that's what makes it
amazing.
Very, very strong, specifically for your clients.
Perfect. Well, that sounds like a total win-win from a broker perspective. So I'm going to now turn it. Thank you so much, Paul, for giving us the voice of reality of what it's really like to be out there every day.
My pleasure.
I'm going to turn it over now to Gail Weisswasser. Gail, if you want to, and Gail is, as I said, the Senior VP of Business Development and Communications for Homesnap, and Bill will be joining her shortly. So Gail, take it away.
Thank you, Marilyn. And Paul, thank you so much for all those very positive and kind things you said about Homesnap. They're all true. It's wonderful to hear them coming from someone other than us. And we're thrilled to know that you're really using Homesnap to its full potential and have been able to use so many different parts of our offering and our platform to such benefit in your brokerage. So thank you for that. And thanks for that great background on the BPP. So I am the head of communications and business development here at Homesnap, and I'm joined here with my colleague, Bill Kaufman, who is the director of brokerage partnerships. And what we're going to cover today is kind of the Homesnap side of things. I'll get a little bit into the broker public portal, although Paul did such a great job explaining what it is that I can get through that pretty quickly. And we're going to talk a little bit about dual websites and why joining the broker public portal is a positive move for brokers and MLSs, especially when it comes to leads and referrals. We'll talk a little bit about public-facing websites. We're going to talk a bit about Facebook Marketplace, which I believe Paul touched on, but we'll get into a little more detail. And Bill is going to get into some particular products that Homesnap has developed just for brokers to address exactly what this webinar is about, which is improving leads and referrals. As Marilyn mentioned, if you have any questions, please put them in the GoToWebinar question section, and we will try to get to them as we get through this webinar. So just to echo what Paul said before, what is the Broker Public Portal? And he did a great job of explaining it. From our perspective, Homesnap is the technology partner and public-facing brand of the Broker Public Portal. We are not the same organization. We have a joint venture, Homesnap, with the Broker Public Portal, where we operate the portal, which is under the name homesnap.com. So the Broker Public Portal was conceived by brokers and MLSs within the industry. We are the only national search portal that follows fair display guidelines, and that means that all leads get sent for free to the listing agent or broker. We are the only website that does that on a national scale, which means that anyone who clicks on any listing in Homesnap is immediately sent to the person who owns that listing, the person who put in that listing. There is no need to pay for a zip code. There is no need to become a premier agent in order to get those leads. It just goes automatically to the listing agent or broker. So in that sense, we are an industry-friendly alternative to the large listing portals. The management of the BPP consists of brokers and MLSs from small, medium, and large brokers. So everybody is represented, no matter what size market they're from. And Homesnap is the partner and public-facing brand. Here are just some stats about Homesnap and BPP with Homesnap. We are the top-rated mobile app. So in addition to being a great search portal, we are the #1 rated home search app. And Paul, you said Homesnap is addictive and fun. It absolutely is. I've been working here almost 6 years, and I love using Homesnap. I love going to other cities and being out and about and being able to snap a home and immediately get all the information on that home. And that's really our most basic feature. From there, especially for agents, there are tons and tons of extremely useful features, and we're adding them all the time. You mentioned our development team. We have a huge development team, which dwarfs the communications team here. And the development team is constantly adding new features, talking to agents, learning how they're using the app, and making it more and more powerful for agents to be able to do their jobs on the go. We are now in over 200 markets. We're approaching 250 markets across the country. I believe that those markets represent about 89% of all listings in the US. We're in 48 out of the 50 states, and we are going to be approaching 2 million leads sent to listing brokers and agents. I know this says 1 million here, but we're getting close to 2 million, and we will be making an announcement when we hit that milestone. So we want to talk a little bit about websites. And one of the reasons that people sometimes have some pause about the Broker Public Portal or the concerns that they have is, why would I want to support or send people to a website when I have my own website? Maybe it's a brokerage making voicing this concern. Maybe it is an MLS making this concern, and they say, well, Homesnap's going to cannibalize the traffic that I've built up in my own brand. And why would I want to do that? So here is the answer to that. From our perspective, traffic to Homesnap is simply additive to traffic to those other sites. And ultimately, it's all going to the same place. So even if somebody looks at a listing on homesnap.com rather than going to an MLS site or a broker site, that lead and that interest and that searcher is going to be sent back to the listing broker or agent, which is where that other site would have sent them in the first place. So rather than it feeling like there's some competition and that traffic is being siphoned off or cannibalized, really it's all just being added in. And Homesnap is a national brand. We have the resources to market the brand nationally. We get national press attention. We get attention from the app stores. So for example, Apple does periodic roundups of home search apps, and Homesnap is always listed as the first or second app. So that's exposure and marketing that is very difficult to achieve if you are a regional website or a regional product. There's no additional work for the MLS to support Homesnap. It's all part of the broker public portal. There's no additional marketing needing because we are doing marketing to homesnap.com, and also because, as Paul mentioned, agents are inviting their clients. There's a great amount of viral marketing that goes on by agents when they invite those clients to join them in Homesnap. It's a safe environment for them to invite their clients to join them in. They can collaborate them there together. And the agent doesn't have to be worried that some other agent is going to swoop in and pick them up as a lead, because that agent and that client are connected in Homesnap and nobody else ever sees them. So from our perspective, this dual site strategy is a very powerful one for any agent, broker, or MLS who's trying to increase the number of people who are landing on those listings. We offer a number of different solutions for MLSs to be able to frame or incorporate Homesnap search into their own website. So maybe they've decided, well, we don't want to support two websites, but we want to get Homesnap and all of that great technology that Homesnap has developed into our own website. So we don't have to pay another vendor. We don't have to pay somebody to develop a whole new site for us. So you can let Homesnap power your search. We currently offer a widget to power consumer search and local websites, but we are developing a next generation solution that's going to be much more better integrated into the MLS website. There will be a much better ability to customize how that search looks. It will feel seamless, and it will be available to MLSs in the beginning of 2020. So if you are interested in getting MLS search into your MLS's website, let us know, and that's something we can absolutely put into action starting now. I also wanted to quickly talk about Facebook Marketplace, and I know that Bill, my colleague here, is going to touch on this more. But Facebook Marketplace, as many people know, is a basically classified section of Facebook. So imagine Craigslist, but it all takes place within Facebook. And Facebook has partnered with Homesnap for Homesnap to supply the rental information for Facebook Marketplace. So all rentals in markets that have agreed to allow Homesnap to share their information with Facebook Marketplace, all of those rental listings will appear in Facebook Marketplace at no additional charge, and all of the leads and interest that comes through Facebook Marketplace, again, get sent back, right back to the listing agent. So the numbers in Facebook Marketplace are enormous. Facebook is the most well-trafficked website, and the amount of people who are using Facebook Marketplace to look for any number of things, including housing, is just, the numbers are staggering. And in the markets where we have launched Facebook Marketplace, we have seen huge, huge increases in the amount of traffic being sent back to agents and brokers through Facebook Marketplace. It's just, the numbers are enormous. So if this is something you're interested in, and Bill's going to talk a little bit more about that, this is just another way that Homesnap is putting listings and putting rentals in front of large audiences to the benefit of brokers and agents in various MLS marketplaces. Here is an example of how it looks in Marketplace. We've seen 500% increase in Omaha, for example, in the first week after we launched. That's just one of many, many markets where we have seen even larger increases in free leads being sent through Homesnap. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Bill now, and he's going to cover some of the broker-specific products that will really drive leads and referrals through Homesnap.
Thanks, Gail. Appreciate it. But before we dive into those specific products that you can take advantage of, I do want to touch a little bit more about the Facebook Marketplace, because it's a really, really exciting opportunity that is available to a lot of BPP brokers out there for their agents in particular. Before we dive into what's next for lead generation, I want to think back, and we can actually step into a time machine and turn our flux capacitor back to November 2007. What did online lead generation look like for you? Well, when I first got into the business right about then, for me, it was all about Craigslist. Who could forget posting a Real Birds flyer or a single property website flyer on Craigslist 3 to 4 times a day to generate leads? It really kind of was the wild, wild west of online lead generation, but it worked. Now, Facebook Marketplace is basically the more sophisticated older sibling of Craigslist. So what our BPP brokers are seeing right now is an incredible results in generating organic leads, but converting new clients once they get them into their ecosystem. So a couple of stats I want to share with you. We've had a couple of brokerages already on board. The Kai's company out of South Florida, in the past 30 days, they have generated over 2,600 Facebook Marketplace leads. Another brokerage out of Chicago has generated 2,200 leads. And another brokerage in the Mid-Atlantic, the Maryland area, has generated over 1,200 leads. And this is all in the past 30 days. Now, I realize Facebook Marketplace is only feeding rental listings. You may say to yourself, well, we don't deal with rentals. It's not really part of our strategy at the brokerage level. But I will say this, it should be a part of your strategy going forward into 2020. And here are 2 reasons why. First, according to the most recent report, 45% of renters regret not buying. And so our brokerages that are generating leads from the Facebook Marketplace today are taking those rental leads and working in tandem with their lending partners to make buying a reality for those individuals, and thus creating a new lead source for their agents. The other piece of it too, second reason why, is it's easier today than ever to create and take that renter lead and make it into a buyer today. With companies like Home Partners for America, you can take that rental lead and turn it into a commission, even if they're not ready to buy today, but yet they're a renter and they can qualify through those type of programs. So think outside the box, utilize these new programs that we're setting up through our partners at Facebook. And you can always reach back out to me and I can discuss a little bit more about how you can set the brokerage up. Now, flipping back to Homesnap and taking advantage of some of the new features, we spent the past year really listening to our brokerage partners and understanding what they want from us. A lot of feedback from Paul himself. And so we've created a set of free tools that really integrate your brand and your technology into the Homesnap ecosystem. And so the first piece of that puzzle is the brokerage branding. So you can actually insert your logo and your branding across the entire Homesnap ecosystem. And it really gives you a mobile strategy to utilize when you're working with your buyers and sellers going forward. So leads are sent directly to you. And whenever a client is using the app or whenever your agents are using the app, they will see your logo on about 9 to 10 different touch points within the Homesnap ecosystem. The other features of the broker suite, we have currently partnered with obviously Facebook, Instagram, Google, and Waze to build a powerful digital marketing platform. And we have ran over 300,000 advertising campaigns across those 4 networks. And we know what works when it comes to advertising on those networks. What works for our agents, what works with generating leads through those networks. And so what we decided to do is we realized that we've got this great platform and we want to give it to our BPP brokers. You now can white label our digital marketing platform. There's a particular brokerage in Chicago that has done so. They now call it the Ad Booster by Barrington Warner. And so they are using this as a recruiting and retention tool, very similar to some of the other big boys that have created, let's say, social ad engine or a digital design studio. If those competitors are in your marketplace, you might be familiar with that technology. But this is your opportunity to take our best-in-class proprietary technology and really make it your own. And so instead of teaching your agents how to generate leads on Facebook, now you can teach them within our ecosystem on the best practices to generate those leads. Something that we hear from agents all the time, especially feedback when it comes to running Facebook ads, is I'm not sure what I'm getting from Facebook ads, or Facebook is great for brand, but it doesn't drive leads. Facebook is way too complicated. I don't have time. And so what they're basically saying is they don't understand how to create an audience and to how effectively spend their marketing budget on Facebook. It works for a lot of agents. And so we take the guesswork out of that, and we want to give that platform to you. And so something to keep in mind too, what we've discovered and what Facebook has discovered with agents advertising on their network is only 3.5% of agents target their own sphere of influence when they're running ads. And only 7.5% of those agents use lookalike audience to target an audience like their sphere of influence outside of their own sphere of influence to generate new business. And so they are running inefficient campaigns. And so that's why we want to give you our digital marketing platform. And so we can also give you white glove service when it comes to training, when it comes to educating, and one-on-one consultation, so they get the best out of their Facebook marketing or Instagram marketing. The other pieces of the broker suite are all about productivity. So brokerage billboards, you'll notice when you open up the app and you go into, let's say, the Pro Agents tab or into your dashboard, there'll be scrolling billboards across the top. These are great spaces to promote company-wide or brokerage-wide events, initiatives, or let's say your monthly training calendar. So we want to give that space over to you so you can really add your communication front and center to your agents within the Homesnap app. The other piece of it too is our brokerage bookmarks. Now, you pay for a lot of technology, whether it's stuff you've built in-house or whether it's third-party vendors that you've brought in. And so we want you to infuse and inject that into the Homesnap app. And so with brokerage bookmarks, we can go ahead and create that seamless. Let me show you a video of what I've done with my brokerage already. So I went ahead and opened up my app, tapped on the Pro Agents tab, scrolled down to our brokerage bookmarks. And as you can see, I've got my agent tools, Broker Sumo, Zip Forms, and our open house email blast form. You can tap on the agent tools, and now I can access all of the agent tools, our single sign-on, right within Homesnap. This makes me extremely productive when I'm out showing, because now I can not only use Homesnap and all the information it provides, but then I can also access all of the tools my brokerage provides right within the app. And last but not least, the brokerage billboards also allow us to create a single sign-on integration into your own agent tools. So on the brokerage end, when your agents sign into your tools, they will also be able to access all of their Homesnap, because we can add a widget or links that allow them to directly sign in to their accounts from your own portals. So it's a symbiotic relationship. So those are a number of the free brokerage tools that you can take advantage of. Feel free to reach back out to myself or Gail to set up one-on-one calls. We can customize it to your brokerage and what you're looking to do. And I'm going to turn it right back over to Gail.
So if you're listening to this and you don't know whether your MLS is in the BPP, you can go to this website here, brokerpublicportal.com/market coverage, and click on a map, and you can see which MLSs are part of the BPP. If you want to know more about it, or you want to recommend that your MLS learn more about it, please contact me. You can do that at bpp@homesnap.com. So that's everything that we had to present today. Marilyn, should we open it up for questions now?
Actually, we have a couple of questions that are already queued up, so I thought I would turn those over to you. So the first one is about the walk the line that Paul was talking about earlier. So First question is, does the walk the line portion of the app work for both Android and iPhones?
Unfortunately, it only works for iPhones right now. The Android part is still in development. Hopefully that's coming sooner rather than later.
Well, is that just the AR portion?
Gotcha.
Because there is a basic property line that you can use with either device. So you can always walk property lines and just have the GPS follow you on a map. So your phone will be a little blue dot. So that works for both platforms. What Bill was referring to is the kind of walk the property lines on steroids, which is the augmented reality piece that's only offered through iOS right now. So as soon as there is an Android version of that, we will incorporate that into our app.
Gotcha. So Sophie asked a follow-on question. Where is the walk link at within the app itself? I don't know if you wanted to turn it on and you can show everybody where it is, or just describe it.
Well, I can't show it on the screen because that is location specific. So that's really an app feature. And what you guys are seeing right now is my desktop, or my laptop. But basically, if you are in front of a house and you open up your Homesnap app.
Yeah, there's a couple of different places that you can access it. Whenever you pull up a listing, let's say you're standing in front of the house, right on the top, you'll notice that there's a listing media section, and you can just scroll with your finger. There's a bunch of different bubbles, and you'll see the map bubble. You can tap on that, and it'll open up the property lines. Also, if you scroll down the active listing, and you scroll past, I believe, all of the confidential MLS data that is on there, you'll come to the property lines. It'll actually pull up the property lines in a small little box and widget. You can actually tap on that and it'll pull it up in the map.
And there's a little box underneath that that says walk the property lines. So it's pretty easy to find within the app.
And one of the important things to remember too is you don't have to be at that property to do it. So if you just want to look at a property at 127 Main Street, just put the address in it. It still pulls up that property line feature.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. So you don't even have to be local. Got it.
Yeah. The walk the property line feature is nice if you're standing in front of a house with a client and they want to know physically where does the property stop and start. So that for that particular use case, you really have to be in front of the house. But for the rest of the time, you can view property lines from anywhere, just like Paul mentioned, just by tapping on the property line section of the map in Homesnap.
And I just wanted to say too that they're utilizing a map and satellite feature in that property lines function. The satellite feature is incredibly crystal clear, and you can hyper focus on it, meaning you can magnify the look and get a really good look at where these property lines are. My suggestion is to play with it. Just put your own address in it. Go to one of the last pages and get the property line and take a look at your own property. You'll be amazed at how clear and exact this is.
That's awesome. Jim asks, can I send a branded link to a buyer that links back to me? So if I want to invite a buyer to join me, how does that work? And is it branded specifically to me?
Yes, it is. So every agent using Homesnap gets a vanity URL. It's usually homesnap.com/firstname-last name. And if you send that link to a potential buyer, or you put it in your social media, or you put it in your signature block or your business card, whatever, anytime somebody clicks on that, they are going to become your client in Homesnap. So it's a very safe and easy way for people to get prospective clients branded to them through this Homesnap link.
And from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's your client and only your client.
Correct.
Meaning that two people cannot own one client. So that's why it's really important to get your database invited to Homesnap as soon as possible, because some of the people might be getting this from somebody else. You want to make sure your database has you as their Homesnap contact.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think too, if let's say that somebody I don't know as well invites me, and then you are actually my agent, you invite me, the client can switch, can't they, if they so choose?
Yes, they can. The client gets a notification that they've been invited by another agent, and Homesnap asks them which agent they would like to be connected to, and they get to pick.
Perfect. Okay. Lucky asks, I would like to know more on how we as realtors can use Homesnap to get more sellers and buyers leads. And, Paul, you talked about it a little bit earlier, but any specific thoughts for Lucky about how to use it for more sellers and buyers leads?
Well, again, it requires looking at the social features. In my opinion, it's going to be our biggest return on dollar by far is the Facebook leads. It's relatively inexpensive to do. You can do a buy for as little as $50. But my suggestion is try a little bit of each of them and see what works in your area, and you'll find what's going to be effective for you. As for sellers, again, two things I would do. Number one is I'd go down and download their presentation, because you can make it part of your physical presentation, a Homesnap. There's a couple of slides that really work well, but just show them what it looks like. So maybe pull up an existing home on the market. In fact, you can pull up their home and show them what their home looks like on Homesnap. Even though other agents don't have that same access, they don't show them. And because you're showing it to them, they assume that you're the only one that has this cool technology. The only way for them to know is if you show them. And it's incredibly strong if you do show them that.
Awesome. Sherry asked a question: should brokers contact Homesnap or BPP to learn more about the broker tools that Bill's been showing us?
Definitely they should contact Homesnap. So actually just sending it to that email, bpp@homesnap.com, will make sure that gets to Bill.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. And Sherry also had another question. I'm the MLS. Did you say the public display for MLS is already available or coming in 2020?
So what's currently available is a framed version, but we're going to have a better version in 2020. So the answer is it's available now, and it's just going to get better.
Gotcha. And if is it GRAR Greater Rochester has it live, right, on their site? If someone wants to see it, grar.com, I believe, is their URL.
Yes, I think that's right.
Okay, so if you wanted to see what it looks like, Sherry, that's a good place to go. And if you have any questions, you could ask Jim Yockel about it, who's the AE there. He seems pretty pleased with how it's working for them. Sal asked, is I think he's talking about the walking lines, is that available on iPad as well as iPhone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And Sherry asked a question: the broker suite is free, what you described. Is that correct, Bill?
It is.
That's great. So the branding, the branding and the SSO and all of that, that's all free if you become part of Homesnap and Broker Portal.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay. John asked, is this recording available to view later or share with other agents and brokers in the office? And I can answer that one. Yes, it is. In fact, we will be sending it out probably within the next 24 hours to everybody that registered and attended. So feel free to share it. And I'm sure if you wanted more information, if you reached out again to BPP at what is it, BPP at homesnap.com, Bill could probably do some stuff live with you too, I assume, right?
Yep.
There's a specific person, Kathy, who's asked for more information on the free brokerage tools. I'll pass that name over to you, Bill, so you can help her out. So thank you for asking about that, Catherine.
Now, one more thing, Marilyn, just to throw it out there, and again, I'd be remiss not to say anything. Their training videos on homesnap.com rock. Very simple, very easy to use. Even I can do it, which says a lot. I think it's one of those things that, as a broker, it sounds silly to use that tutorial as a tool to help your agents, but it does help, and it makes you look like a rock star because you get handed it to them. But it's very, very good videos that'll make it simple to use the product. Perfect.
This is a specific question. This is from Peter regarding market coverage. MLSLI, which is Long Island, is not on the BPP list, but Hudson Gateway is. The two MLSs are merging sometime this year. In fact, I think they just announced their new brand a couple weeks ago. Will BPP be available for all MLSLI and HGAR members?
So MLSLI is what we call a legacy Homesnap client. So they were a client of ours before we became the BPP. Hudson Gateway is a MLS that joined the BPP after we became the BPP. So right now, both markets have access to Homesnap and have access to, we are sharing listings from both markets right now on Homesnap. We are waiting for the combined new market, I think it's called One Key, to communicate with us about how they want to handle the combined new market. So as of right now, I don't really have a good answer for that. If he would like to reach out to MLSLI and let them know that they want to continue to have access to Homesnap and to continue to share those listings on the BPP, that's certainly helpful. But as of right now, everything is sort of status quo until they make a decision.
Gotcha. And to that point, Peter, if you may know him, but Jim Spear is the head of the MLS up there. You might want to reach out to him or just call the office, and he might be able to help you answer that question more specifically. Along the same lines of a market question, will Syracuse, New York be on board soon? I don't see them on the member list. I'm sure you guys would say, yes, we want them. But do you have an answer for that one?
I think I thought Syracuse was one of our clients. I don't know what list, if they're referring to the website list, I believe Syracuse is on there. I will double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
Okay, gotcha. Sal has a question. Is there any support for 360-degree photos or 360-degree videos on the platform?
Well, we do have an integration with Matterport right now. So virtual tours do load up, actually right in the media center on every active listing that does have a Matterport, and it's imported into the MLS system. So it does support the 3D stuff right now and other virtual tours.
We also have
Perfect.
the Google 360-degree street view on every listing too. It doesn't even have to be a listing, every property.
Yeah, actually, that question didn't come up, but I think that might be helpful to clarify that you guys have every property in America on this. Can you explain how that works?
Sure. So we have the ability to look at any home in the United States. If it is not on the market, then it's going to be populated with public records data. If it is in a market that we do not have data for, it will also be populated with public records data. So if there's any home that you're interested in, you can see it in Homesnap. It's just a question of whether or not we have the listing information for it. And like I said at the top of the webinar, we now have coverage for about 89% of listings in the US.
So what's really fun about, and Paul talked about this, the Homesnap feature, if there's a house, and my husband does this all the time, he gets bragging rights, people love it. He can look at any property that's, if it's in one of the 89%, which is obviously a lot of the United States, and he can just point his phone at it, click a button, and it will pull up all the information about that property, even if it's not on the market. And so our friends that are not in real estate are like, wow, that is so cool. They think that's a really fun feature. So and for analysis and CMAs and all kinds of stuff, it's great because it's got not just the current inventory, but everything. Sal has a follow-up question about the 360. He says he uses iSpy 360 or Rico tours. Is there any support for them versus Matterport?
Currently, I don't believe there is, but we would certainly be open to supporting them as well. We try to integrate Homesnap with as many different vendors as possible. And usually once we have an integration in place with one in a particular category, it's usually not very hard for us to add additional ones. Gotcha.
So Sal, you might want to, again, reach out to BPP at Homesnap and ask that question, and maybe you can help get that done for everyone, which is great. Eunice, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, is asking, is My Florida Regional part of it, or now the new name Stellar MLS part of the BPP program? Is that true, Gail?
It is.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Let's see. Oh, we've got a lot of questions here. I think we've answered the
piggyback on that snapping feature real quick. There was earlier about generating new leads. One of the things that I actually recommend, if you have a lot of buyers and they're using Homesnap, have them go to their target neighborhoods and snap houses that they love. And this is a great way to prospect for possible new business, because now you've got all of the houses that a buyer particularly loves, and you could essentially door knock for potential deals. Because
smart.
Everything your client is snapping. So that's a great way to just generate, possibly new listings out there using that feature.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun things here for building different kinds of client relationships that to be, being creative with it, you can do some neat stuff. Here's a question. If my MLS is not part of the Broker Public Portal, can I as a broker still get access to the system?
Our preference, very strong preference, is to roll out through MLSs rather than on a broker by broker level, but we have done that in various circumstances. So I would say to reach out to Bill or send it to me and I'll forward it to Bill, and we can certainly investigate that possibility. Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, I think we've answered all the questions. Is there anybody else on the call that has anything else they'd like to ask at this point? We can just hold for 1 minute. If not, we'll
be on our merry way. And again, if you look at that, the slide that's up, if you have any questions about this, or if it is available in your market, go to brokerpublicportal.com/market coverage, and that'll show you all the MLSs that have it today. And again, if you have any other questions, send it to Gal and Bill at BPP at Homesnap, and they'll be happy to to help you get some more broker information about you, get you signed up, answer any questions about training that you might have, or if there's anything else that you need to take full advantage of this. So I'll give the final word to you, Paul. Is there anything that you would say to a broker who's kind of thinking about this or on the fence? What would you say to them? What's the advice that you would provide to them?
I think the key right now is use it. It's a tool that you're paying for whether you know it or not, and it's only $1 a month, so it's very, very cost effective, and it's including the MLS fees. It can be used not only in your market area, but like Marilyn said, I get people that are on vacation and they're pulling it up all over the place. So someone from Illinois might go to Mesa, Arizona, and they're pulling homes up in Mesa, Arizona. They think it's so cool. And it's especially cool because every time they pull it up, your name is on it. The object of this is to give consumers a tool that is effective and that they'll use. There's no better tool out there like this. This is it, and it's yours. As an agent in your MLS, you own this tool. I think just that's fascinating and fantastic all in one.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any comments or questions, again, feel free to reach out to bpp at homesnap.com. If you have any feedback on the webinar itself, you can reach out to me at Marilyn at retechnology.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. The recording should be to you within the next 2 days, so for those that want to share it, feel free to do so. Have a great day, everybody, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.